Good day, everyone, and praise the Lord. This being the JPRC week, I will be talking on creation and especially relating it to justice, peace, and reconciliation. So before we dive into creation, as it is described in Genesis 1, let us discuss Psalms 24:1. And it says, "The earth is the Lord's and everything in it." That means, unlike a normal tenant-landlord situation, the Lord is the overall authority. Normally, the landlord does not own the tenant as a human being. Rather, the landlord owns only the house. And therefore, when the tenant is moving out, he or she lives with their items and leaves the house for the landlord. But unlike that situation, you find that the Lord not only owns the world, but he also owns the people in it, gold and silver, oil and gas, beasts and birds, land and sea, just to mention a few. This shows that the Lord indeed is the overall authority. We therefore are tenants that have a responsibility to protect and use the earth's resources well and carefully as they are supposed to be used. Now, let's go to Genesis and the creation, knowing at the back of our minds that the Lord is the overall and the final authority. Looking at Genesis chapter 1, creation happened. And let us focus after creation, that is in Genesis 1:31. And it states, "Then God looked over all he had made, and he saw that it was very good. And evening passed, and morning came, marking the sixth day." Praise the Lord. Now, with that one, it invites us to look at the creation, God's creation, through his eyes. When we say that, then God looked over all he had made and he saw that it was very good. Very good, underline it. As we look at this creation, you and I and everything that God has given us, through God's eyes, we need to look at it as a complete and harmonious entity, as one thing that meshes together. Everything is connected to the other. There's nothing that is away. We need each other. We need what God has given us. We need the creation to survive. Equally, the creation needs us. What God has given us needs us to enhance it. So we are all meshed together. So if we look at God's vision of shalom, and this is where peace comes in, this invites all of creation to know the wholeness and harmony of it, and it is best expressed when all parts of creation are right. That means they're in the right relationship with each other and as witnesses of each other to peace and righteousness of God's will for this same creation. When we think about right, the issue of judgment in relation to creation comes in, where judging or judgment, in this case justice, is not as much about judgment, but more of being right or making things right. So you are supposed to do as you're supposed to do the right thing at the right place in the right way. Therefore, judgment is removed. So judgment when it comes to creation and the harmony of creation brings about the issue of making it right. Meaning that there will be right relationships with each other, and in overall, all of what God has given us in this world. With this encouragement, therefore, we see creation through God's eyes in an application that comes from Africa Study Bible, and it is titled Glorifying and Imitating God. This is with reference to Genesis 1:31. I'm going to read it just as it is because it is wholesome in itself. It says, "How many times have you praised God at the sight of a beautiful flower or a herd of wild animals living peacefully in nature? We see the Creator's wisdom when a beautiful valley stretches out before us and we breathe the fresh air of the countryside. The ocean waves, both the gentle ones and the powerful ones, speak to us in God's intelligence. We hear the loud cry of an animal in the night, the bird song that wakes us in the morning, the flutter of wings flying quietly over our heads. All this remind us that we are not alone in this universe, that God created just for us. Beautiful mountains, plains, and valleys invite us to meditate and to worship the Creator, thinking about His own work, God, so that it was very good. Because we were created in the image and likeness of God, we can imitate the Creator in our creative words and actions. God entrusted us with a sacred task of caring for His creation. Let us respect our environment by preserving it in a state of cleanliness, beauty, goodness, a place where we can His perfect harmony. I will give credit again to the Africa Study Bible, which is from where I have read that application. And now, as I wind up, I pray that we will exercise justice, peace, and reconciliation with each other and all that God has given us, as we look at creation through God's eyes and the Lord as a final authority. Be blessed.